I welcome everyone in attendance. Mr. Andy Sellers will give the invocation, and Mr. Chad Kent will lead us in the pledge. If you would stand.
Let's pray. Father, we just come in the name of Jesus, Lord. We thank you this time, Lord. And Father, we thank you that you've honored us to be able to serve our community. Lord, we just ask that you give us the wisdom and the know-how, Lord, to make wise decisions. Lord, to be good stewards, Father, of the money that our citizens pay into this county, Lord. And Father, we just thank you now in Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Under approval of agenda, I know of no changes to the agenda. I'm being corrected. Under new business, being told we need to add the Bree extension.
What, Mr. Chairman? Add what?
The Bree extension, I believe that's gonna be the Bree cleanup.
It is.
Be the last item under new business. And with that addition, do I have a motion to approve agenda with that change?
So move.
Second.
Thank you, sir. All in favor of agenda? Unanimous. Approval of minutes. Call meeting January 7th, 2025.
Mr. Chair, if it pleases the board, that we take the called meeting and the regular meeting, and I'd like to make a motion that we approve these together.
Both. I have a motion to approve both the call meeting January 7th and the regular meeting of January 7th. I hear a second.
Second.
Thank you,
Mr. Chairman, I have on the regular minutes on item F, that should be in the work session. The Brian Smallwood and Tim Marcus was not in the regular meeting. They were in the work session. That was an error.
Mr. Sonic, can you make that change?
Repeat it again, please.
Item F, where we're talking about Representative Brian Smallwood and Tim Marcus made the presentation in the regular meeting. They were actually in the work session and not in the regular meeting.
I have a motion and a second to approve with that change now. All in favor? Commissioner Jones, were you in favor? Thanks, sir. Old business, Heart of Georgia Board member appointment.
Mayor, after speaking with Heart of Georgia, we had confirmation that we did appoint Jakar Jones as the representative from the board. He also can serve as the other representative as well from the community. So right now, while we're still in search of another member, so we can appoint that at a later date, but they're fine with him serving in both roles.
I do have a person I've mentioned to the other commissioners. I spoke with Danny Johnson earlier in the day. I believe he meets the qualifications for that position. Mr. Jones was approved previously. Do I have a motion on Danny Johnson for that position?
So move.
Danny Johnson. I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve Danny Johnson.
A second for Mr. Danny Johnson.
I'll second.
So Chad first. All in favor of Danny Johnson for that Heart of Georgia appointment? Unanimous. Next item, new business bid award. County Manager.
Part of our part of our hurricane projects was the guardrail. It was advertised for bid on December 11th and on the 18th and on December 31st. We had the preliminary estimates. The original bid opening date was scheduled for January the 23rd. This was 36 days from the first advertisement to allow for the 30-plus days and the holiday through December and January. The bid opening date was rescheduled due to inclement weather from the 27th. So we did have a mandatory pre-bid. There was only one bid that showed up, and the one bid turned in actually on the bid date. So with the recommendation, I would recommend the low and only bid, J. Hires Company, for $145,052, which was in line with our estimate originally.
Yes, sir. Commissioners?
Did you say you had other bids?
We did not. This is a specialty item. I know of 2 companies that even close to us that would even do this for the guardrail.
Yeah. Okay.
So I have one bid.
This was on bridges, I'd say?
Yeah, the guardrail damage that we had from the storm.
Okay.
Since it was a result of the hurricane, do we have any issue with just taking one bid?
We will not. 'Cause
Okay.
we met all the advertisements and more than the dates.
Okay. Thank you. And it was in line with what Roberts had estimated it should be?
It is.
Thank you. Well, then I'll make a motion, we approve this bid.
Thank you, Commissioner Edwards, and a second. Thank you, Commissioner Jones. All in favor, going with J. Hires bid? Unanimous. Job description approval, registrar elections office.
As talked about before, we're going through all job descriptions for all departments and meeting with department heads to update and get in line. Some of these have not been updated for 20-plus years. So there's some disclaimers that also need to be included. We're going department by department. And so we've met with all departments, but the ones that are ready, that have been drafted for your approval, are the registrar and elections office job descriptions. These are not new job postings. These are existing jobs that we have. Just the job descriptions are changing. Once approved by the board, the employees will be, have to sign off or sign each job description.
Do we want to vote on these B and C at the same time?
Sir?
Do we want to vote on B and C at the same time, or include both individually?
I would recommend separately.
Separately?
Because B is your registrar and elections office, and then C is a change of job description.
Okay.
So, Mr. Manager, under the election supervisor job description, I see 2 jobs listed in here. The election supervisor and the election supervisor assistant, 2 job descriptions in that section.
Yes, sir. And then you have the administrative assistant for registrar and elections.
So 3 under that, under the supervisor, all 3 of those?
You have registrar, elections clerk
Okay.
for elections.
So we're going by department and trying to get all the job descriptions for each?
Updated. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
These job descriptions, they come through the registrar's office.
They did. Well, they reviewed, yes. They reviewed, we reviewed together in a meeting, and then we made necessary disclaimer changes that needed to be updated with HR policies.
registrar has four full-time employees, is that correct?
Correct.
Has,
And also they're part-time, but those are the poll workers.
yeah, during elections, I understand, but have we reviewed that and that, because you have an election every 2 years, that full-time position is necessary for that office?
So what you're saying is if they're necessary, if we need necessarily 4 people?
Yeah.
From our discussions with the election department, we do.
Do they currently have a person for each one of these positions over there?
The assistant has not been filled yet.
Okay. So just because they have an approved job description doesn't mean they have to fill that position
That's correct.
if something were to come along.
That's correct.
They didn't need it. Okay,
It still has to be approved.
okay. Thank you. You good, JJ? You good, Chad?
You need a motion on B?
Yes, sir. I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion we approve item B, registrar and election office.
You gonna do the one item?
That's what we said.
Yeah.
I have a motion to approve the first item. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I saw Mr. Ricky first. All in favor? Unanimous on that item.
Next item, the executive assistant administrative coordinator position was already a budgeted position in the administrative office, except it was titled accounting technician. Ms. Gigi had that role, and we had moved her into Ms. Yvonne's role. So we went through the job description while we had the vacancy, and I will need a motion to approve the job description and to post the job preferably. But we did account for the clerical duties in this job description and also added a few key points such as grant research and things of the technology officer type roles that we currently, everybody does in that office that need to be separated out. So we went ahead and updated this job description and retitled it.
Mr. Manager, the attorney has previously mentioned that we probably need to think about having a person that deals with the open records requests that we get. Will this position
It will
be that
it will fall
person?
under that.
I see on bullet point 3 there, it just says reviews public and answers questions, response to inquiries from employees, citizens, and others. Is that where that would fall under
Yes, sir.
right there? Okay. Mr. Attorney, have you looked at this, and does it meet what you had recommended we do?
I'm satisfied.
Okay, thank you.
So this person would actually be writing grants and stuff like that too?
Jointly, they'll assist in some, they'll bring the grant information to our office for us to see what's viable for us to apply for, so there's not time wasted, but also what we can go after. So it's a lot of that research piece, take care of that, and to their ability to write or learn to write. And there's a second piece that follows with grants is also the record keeping and the administrative part afterwards that they'll be responsible for.
Chairman, item C on the Executive Assistant Administrative Office, I make a motion that we approve that, to fill that office.
You approving that job description?
Yes.
I have a motion to approve the job description.
I'll second.
So, Mr. Chad first. All in favor of this job description? Now we also need a motion to post the job.
Please.
I also need a motion to post that job.
It is vacant right now.
Okay.
Make a motion to post the job.
Commissioner Jones with the motion, a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Edwards. All in favor of posting that job? Unanimous. County Attorney, do we,
We're good.
we good? Next item, three-way stop at Prentice Road. County Manager.
Yes, sir. It's come to my attention that we have that three-way stop there. It's been there 20-plus years. It's come up for request to potentially remove two legs of that stop, which is the thoroughfare of Prentice Road. And after reviewing and getting that request and having to review it, it was voted on to be installed, so it would need the same vote to uninstall. And I would refer any extra. Commissioner Barnes, would you like to?
Yeah, I'll give a little overview of the road. I kind of researched it a little bit, talked to a couple people in the neighborhood there. First off, I'll just give you a little history from it. From my findings, this three-way stop was put in probably over 30 years ago. It has back when it was put in, you had three legs. You had one of them that was paved. Two legs was still dirt road, so they put a three-way stop in there. As years went on, all the legs were paved, and therefore that made Prentice Road straight. You know, it was Cleveland Lane butts up into Prentice Road. It was kept 3 lanes. After many, and I mean many, complaints about this three-way stop by the citizens of District 5 and from other people in the county, me, along with county manager, road manager, talked about it, looked at it, researched it. Our findings is that the DOT strongly recommends not to have a three-way stop like this, and it is not good for the flow of traffic on Prentice Road. Prentice Road is already on the list to be restriped, so if we're going to do away with this three-way stop, now would be the good time to do it because it's already about to be restriped. So if we're going to do away with the three-way stop, now would be the time to do it before we stripe it, spend money on striping.
Thanks, sir. Anyone else?
I highlighted in your packet the MUTCD, which is the Manual for Transportation, and things that what they would call minor road stop control for a three-way intersection. You'll see those highlighted, 3 crashes within a 12-month period, things like that warrant having a three-way stop. So you'll see that in your packet as well.
What would be the procedures for something like this, Mr. Manager?
If you came in to install a stop, it's relatively the same as to uninstall. You have to take it before the board. The board approves to remove the stop sign, and then we, in turn, advertise highly and also install corrective signs prior to the stop with some advance warning, and then we will remove. There's some RPMs there that we'll remove. There's some speed bumps there we'll have to remove, and then there's only 2 stop signs as far as the 2 ways that we'll have to remove. And me and Mr. Carroll have discussed it, and we can make it happen, but we would want to advertise thoroughly due to a liability issue. Just to make sure everybody's aware that there's a change in traffic pattern.
Would it require a public hearing?
Not to my knowledge, because it was just a vote of the board.
Okay.
And it's a three-way instead of a four-way stop.
Would there be signage put up out there or just the public notice?
Public notice, and we can put up a sign.
Say something about that. Can I say something about that, Leslie?
Do you have something on that road? Yes, sir, go ahead.
I do, I live on that road. I live out there, that freeway stop sign. That stop sign has been, them stop signs have been there for well over 25 years, I know. I feel like the reason the stop sign was there, Dickersburg parking lot, they paved Prentice Road up to the house there and then turned and went to Cleveland Lane. They left the other dirt, they left the dirt road because it made a left-hand turn down the railroad tracks and went down quarter mile, maybe not that far, and then turned and went across. And finally got permission from the railroad to cross the railroad tracks, straighten that road out where they could pave it. After they done that, then they left the three-way stop sign. We asked for permission to leave the three-way stop sign, and they did, and we appreciate it. We got traffic comes through there now, through them stop signs, anywhere up to 60, 70 mile an hour, I'm sure. You know, a lot of folks are courteous enough to stop or slow up. The deputies come there and sit sometime, and they catch a few things, and that's where all this stems from. But I feel like that if you take them stop signs up, as long as they've been there, somebody's gonna come through there, coming off Cleveland Lane, or somebody comes from down Prentice, they're gonna think they got the right of way, the motherfuckers are gonna stop, even though you put something up there in the paper. I feel like you're gonna wind up with a bad wreck right there in my yard, or not in my house. Because folks have got used to the stop signs being there. And I feel like it would be a liability to the county if you take them down. And I would request that you leave them up. Folks haven't got folks to complain about that. They really haven't got to come down Prentice Road. There's other roads that can travel the same place they go. You know, they haven't got to come down and go to the stop sign if they don't want to.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
The only question I have is the restriping, what kind of date is that work scheduled for?
As right now, does not have a notice to proceed date, but I would assume based on what I hear is April.
I'll leave that to the commissioners. Make a motion to start the process of removing the sign or table it to the next meeting. I'll leave that to the commissioners.
Ricky needs to make a motion.
I respect what Mr. Eddie says, and I went and talked to Mr. Eddie because I'm the type, I'm not going to do anything behind anybody's back, and I believe in talking to people. Sometimes we want things, but we don't think about other people, and I'm not throwing off on Mr. Eddie by no means. I'm just saying there's a lot of people comes through there, and they do not like to stop. That's why they, like he said, they run through there, rolling through 60 miles an hour, and we having to put deputies out there and write tickets to people because it's a straightaway road. If you ever been down it, people don't want to stop because it's not really designed to stop. It's hard to make a lot of people stop when it's not necessary. But I can understand Mr. Eddie living right there and want people to slow down, but it's a public road and we can't just put stop signs anywhere we want to because we want people to slow down. And
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to table it, being that we got kind of mixed emotions about it. It's the first time kind of hearing about it and kind of just think on it a little bit.
Table it to the next meeting.
That's what I'm making a motion to table it.
Have a motion motion, Commissioner Jones, to table this item to the next meeting. Do I hear a second?
I see that there's I have a question there for discussion. When you put a stop sign in a place, you know, you're supposed to investigate there to see how many accidents have been there in the last, have we done any of that kind of?
Our system, we pulled back 3 years. The 3 incidents that I had from those 3 years were, 2 of them were deer related, and then 1 was somebody that ran off the road on Cleveland Lane.
Okay.
I had Mr. Henry and 911 pull those reports for me.
You said the criteria was 3 a year.
The criteria to have us to install it is 3 in a 12-month period. We pulled back 3 years, which is what our system will allow us to pull with the new system, and there were 3 that was related to that, around that intersection, or Prentice and Cleveland.
Yes, sir. I do have a motion to table the item. And that motion will fail without a second. Do I hear another motion?
The risk of a wreck there would come off somebody running the sign off Cleveland Lane with it.
Yes, sir.
That would be the only risk. So if that was marked well, then that should highly reduce it, if not eliminate it. Because that'd be your risk, somebody run that one stop sign.
Yes, sir, after you remove the other ones.
It's in your district.
As far as your district, well,
Well, from my experience, all I've had is one's for it and piles against it. So, I got to go with the majority whenever I do anything. So when I brought it up, I was making a motion to do away with it. But
so you are making the motion.
Motion, we start the process of getting rid of the 2 signs that are
yes,
on premise.
Start the process, yes, sir.
Start the
Yes.
process. I have a motion to start the process of removing the 2 stop signs on premise. So here's a second.
A second.
Thank you, Mr. Randy. All in favor? And all opposed? You get that recorded? 4 to start the process and 1 against. Thank you all. Item E under new business, set public hearing dates for House Bill 581.
So in your package, you see some slides. I believe the chairman had attended a seminar and also a tax assessor. House Bill 581 that was voted on and passed was not complete. But in a lot of that bill, we have to set, if at all you want to opt out, there is an opt-out option. You can't opt out from the reassessment that will have to take place, the requirement of reassessment every 3 years. You can't opt out of that. But in order to even have a choice, there are certain guidelines and hold 3 public hearings before the March 1st deadline has to take place. Talking with several of our communities around us, they basically indicated they were not going to opt in or out at this point, but they wanted to go ahead and set the public hearings and also get public input. So my recommendation is to let's set the public hearing dates as we continue to gather information and see what works in our community. I'm steady gathering information from our tax assessor to provide to y'all and also the public during these public hearings. And then at the end of that public hearing, we have to have a meeting to either opt out or we are automatically in it. And we can't have 2 meetings at one time. And so the schedule that I have, definitely up to y'all's recommendation. One has to be offered in the morning and then the evening. So I have, on the 20th would be our first one. That way we can meet our legal requirements of advertisement. Now, the first one is at 10 a.m. on the 20th, and the second at 5:30. That's the only one on the same day. The next public hearing I have written down would be the 26th at 5:30. Because y'all will be in training on the 24th and 25th and on your way back. It's a pretty tight deadline because March the 1st is the deadline to have a referendum or resolution if we're going to opt out. At this point, more information needs to be gathered from how it affects our local community, our local taxpayers, before the commission decides to opt out or stay in.
What time was the afternoon meeting on February 20th?
5:30.
5:30.
And really like to use this time to get information out and hear public input.
Yes.
Because this bill is, they're right now, from what I gather, I talked with Steve Weeks, they're actively making some adjustments to the bill because it was not all the way fleshed out when it was put out for referendum. I think it was one of the last ones they did at the midnight hour. So with those changes, we're also going to be hearing that. I've heard there could be an extension. If so, great, we've covered our basis so that we do have a choice. But by doing the public hearings, that's allowing us to have a choice. So those are the dates that I would recommend to the commission.
Thanks, sir.
If I would ask the council to verify the afternoon meetings, my understanding, it has to be between 6 and 7.
Okay.
So 5:30, I have a question, if that's all due respect.
One of those meetings has to be.
It's a Wednesday.
One has to be at
One has to be
6.
at 6.
It's a Wednesday.
Yeah, the Wednesday, yep. 26th,
So the 26th would be at 6.
yes,
I didn't think we ever set that time. I thought that
It is a Wednesday.
we did.
Yeah, that's a Wednesday. I got my calendar right here.
5:30 on the 20th.
5:30 on the 20th, that's right. 6.
We need to,
Yes, sir.
Tuesday we'll be in class.
yeah, we won't be back, but the 26th is on a Wednesday.
Is there any way to do, is these dates set in stone?
No, sir.
Is there any way to do the 2 meetings on the 18th and then do,
Can't do it until after the 19th because of the 7 days we have to advertise.
okay.
And with that, it won't come out until the 12th.
So basically the February 20th at 10 and 6 will be for public input and discussion, information for us. We would not be voting on it until the 26th meeting as what to do.
After the 26th.
After the 26th meeting, we would vote on what we want to do.
If we want to opt out.
If we want to
don't,
opt out, okay.
we all automatically are opted in.
Thank you.
Is that going to give you enough time to get what you need to get to them to opt out?
Yes, y'all, it's a resolution that we'll have to pass.
Simple 4-line resolution.
And in between that, we've been gathering information. I've included 2 different handouts in your packet just so y'all to have.
Right.
Did y'all have a problem with
I didn't say.
One reason that's important to think about also, we are under a reevaluation right now as well. So that's something we'll consider and talk about at our public hearings.
When is that going to be completed, you know?
At the end of this year,
End of this year?
Fiscal year or calendar year?
our calendar year.
What part are they working on now? Are they through the residentials or?
Field assessments. So we actually, in the beginning, we went ahead because of the way, the demand that was there. We had to go ahead and do basically the desk review of the assessment of the existing what we had. Now the field team's going out there to verify and make any necessary adjustments or bring back the necessary adjustments. But those are the dates.
Did we change both of them back to 6, or?
We only changed the one, one had to be the 6th.
Okay.
That was on the 20th?
6.
26th at 6 o'clock.
And it can be the 20th because Wednesday is a church night for those that want to.
Yeah, that's better.
So if you would like to meet the 20th at 6, that's a Thursday, and the 26th at 5:30. Either way is fine with me.
Don't matter to me.
Motion on these times and dates?
Can we do any one of them on the 24th?
We'll be in,
I'm sorry, the 25th?
we'll be coming back from Atlanta for the training.
So what we're looking at, February 20th at 10 a.m., February 20th at 6, did we change that to 6, or is it still 5:30?
We could change that one to 6 because of the
6.
Wednesday,
And the 26th at 5:30?
5:30.
I make a motion that we approve this meeting, approve this time.
Just for clarification, we 10 a.m. on the 20th, 6 in the evening on the 20th, and 5:30 in the evening on the 26th.
Yes, sir.
And that was the times that you made a motion to approve.
Yes.
Correct. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Commissioner Kent, all in favor? I believe that was unanimous.
I'm approved. That's right.
Next item, Affluent Healthcare, IGA.
As you know, we've been meeting with Affluent Healthcare. Myself and the attorney met 2 weeks ago. And so I would like to turn this one over to him to discuss. You'll have the IGA in front of you or in your packet, and for him to discuss any legal that needs to be brought to the attention or the pleasure of the board on, after you've read it, what you might want to change on the draft.
Mr. Wilmot should be here in attendance. Matt, if you wouldn't mind coming up. That way they can answer any questions, they can ask you any questions as well as me. Basically, it's an intergovernmental agreement where we have sat down and looked at the hospital's needs and what we can do. The request in the IGA is for a $2.5 million advance over time with a $1 million initial advancement pretty quick, then a $500,000 advancement quarterly, with a $500 advancement quarterly. There's some provisions that require the hospital to come and talk to us each quarter. There's an annual requirement for the hospital to talk to us. Our meeting that we had with Lee, is Lee here? Yeah, okay. We met with Lee and with the hospital board, Matt, and the current interim CEO and CFO. And the hospital is making pretty good gains. I think they've got some information that one of them wants to come up and share. But it's the pleasure of the board. They need money. We've got a draft intergovernmental agreement. Mr. Wilmot has brought his computer. I have talked with a couple of y'all, and there's been some displeasure in the length of time. The proposal is over an 8-year period, I believe. 10-year period, and then the proposal is a 10-year period, and I've heard one ask for a 7, and I've heard one ask for an 8. So while we've got them here, before y'all decide to vote on it, Matt and I can answer any questions regarding the intergovernmental agreement. I guess the first thing you have to do is decide if you're going to give them the $2.5 million, and if you're going to do that under that process, then the second thing is the deduct from the annual amount of the $1 million that you normally pay, and that's how this is structured.
And that amount is?
Right now, it's structured. The 2.5 is paid with the deduct over a 10-year period.
It'll be
$250,000 a year.
So they're usually getting $1 million, we giving them $1 million every year, Instead of us giving them $1 million, we're gonna give them $750,000. So we're taking back pretty much $250,000 every year.
Right.
So we're not really giving it to them.
No, you're just.
We're just
you're-
giving
you're
it
just-
to them up front.
Right, you're advancing them money that you would give them over a period of time. The question is, and it's not really a repayment, it's just a it's real simple. We give them $1 million, you give them $1 million every year. They're asking for a capital outlay of 2.5 to keep them in what they've explained to us as a positive operating position. Now, and Lee can expand on that if he wants to come up here, as our interim CEO. That doesn't mean that the hospital can't decide to pay it back early, basically, or to decline the $500,000. They could be operating. The goal is for them to be operating at a much more positive level in the very near future. But this is basically a structured amount where they can go to their vendors and their folks and say, look, we've got the county backing us so that we can keep our hospital in the red, or in the blue, excuse me.
I have one question, and is that all this is providing that everything gets on good footing and the hospital becomes operating in the black.
Right.
That this agreement will be able to be honored.
There's a provision, Mr. Sellers, that they come and talk to you before each quarterly division or payment. There is also a provision that Matt can expound a little bit. I've read it and I understand what he's doing. Essentially, we don't have to give them $1 million every year. You vote to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So if for some reason, from our perspective, if we felt like they were not doing what they were supposed to, then we could vote not to give them that $1 million. Mm-hmm. And there's a provision in there that says that if we do that, or if we lower that anymore, that we would come to the table and renegotiate how we would have to restructure this agreement. So we have some teeth, and they have the ability to go to their vendors and say that the county's backing us. Essentially, Mr. Sellers, what your question is, and I'll go to the heart of it because I know you're a no-nonsense commissioner, is if they're not honoring their deal and this is going south, what teeth do we have? Well, we still have the power of the purse.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Lewis, information is wonderful. Would you have anything to add?
I'll add some clarification there, if you don't mind. The $1 million that we currently receive.
Lee, could you come to the microphone, buddy?
Thank y'all for having us tonight. The $1 million that we currently receive, 500,000 of that is a part of the EMS agreement. That EMS agreement was put in place, I believe it was in 98. Robin, is that correct? 97. So it's been in place for quite some time. So 500,000 of that $1 million allocation is already allocated for EMS. I know you made the comment that y'all could vote to withhold.
With regard to the 500,000.
Yes, with regard to the 500,000, we'd still need that for the operation of EMS. So I did want to make that clarification. And also, I want to maybe give a little bit of a financial update, if you don't mind. Just where we've come over the last several months. Robin, if you don't mind coming up here and providing some information as it relates to our financial situation at the present time, because it is vastly improved. So I'll turn it over to her for just a few minutes.
Good evening. When we were here before last month, we gave you a rundown of the positive change that we are seeing in our financial condition. I'm going to highlight that just a little bit. So when we were here last month, we said that when you take our fiscal year, or let me go back to fiscal year 2024, we were projected to be a loss of $4.5 million for fiscal year 2024. When we ended fiscal year 2024, this is unaudited, we were at a loss of $2.8 million. Now when you look at when our fiscal year starts in September, and you go through, when we were here last, I said through November, we were projected out, when you take the actual and projected out over the year, we were projected to be a loss of $1.6 million. Well, since then, we have presented the financials to the board, and we actually turned a profit for the month of December, a little over $52,000. So when you add the month of December into those projections, we are looking at a loss of $846,000. We are continuing the positive trend. January is looking really well. We're in the process of closing January right now. We just need some breathing room.
And I think it's important to note, Lee, that you and I had a discussion with Dr. Kevin Counten, who is now in the community, and he's going to start using our hospital exclusively for labs.
He is. Actually, Shannon and I will have lunch with him tomorrow. That's a relationship that we'll continue to build upon.
That brings a lot of Wayne County money into Appleton County.
I would say that the other week that their CEO Shannon, or CFO, they took Agnes and I on a tour of the hospital, and I seen a lot of turnaround from where we was going. That's what we was looking for. That's what I was looking for. And so we're, instead of keep pointing down, we're starting to point up. And so that impressed a lot. And my question I had was, as long as we keep going that direction, we're going to do good. But if something was to happen and it didn't go that direction, what we're going to do? So, we need a good hospital.
Absolutely.
And I think I've seen some very positive changes.
We want this to be a partnership between the hospital authority and the board of commissioners. We need the support, not just financially, but just public support for the hospital. And we have been able to turn the hospital around, but to do this, we've got to have the community behind us. If the community wants a hospital, then the community's got to get behind it too.
That's right.
So the question from our board members is the amount of the allocation. The first part of the IGA is that we would give them $1 million and then $500,000 quarterly. Then the second part to consider is the deduct from the annual allotment that we give them. The proposal is $250,000 over a 10-year period. Again, this is a draft. This is one, you don't have to agree to the IGA. Two, if you do agree to it, then you need to set the amount and you need to set the deduct so that Matt and I can get this IGA together. We would sign it tonight if you wanted to, voted on it, and then the only way it would become legally enforceable and binding would be when the hospital authority signs the counterpart when y'all meet sometime next week, I believe.
Well, we can call a meeting, but
okay.
Not scheduled a meeting until later.
No question. Robin, are y'all actively educating people on the Georgia Goal? Georgia Heart, yeah.
Yes, sir. So with the marketing director position, that's going to be one of our primary responsibilities is going out and educating businesses and individuals on our Georgia Heart program.
I mean, that's a tremendous way for the community to support our hospital through saving on their Georgia state income taxes. I mean, you either pay it to the state of Georgia or you can send it to the hospital. And if we could get people on board for that, I think that would help us really to turn the corner. And it's all about letting them know. Most people would much rather support our local hospital than pay state income taxes, which it's all about education. So I'm pleased to hear that your marketing director is going to focus on that, and especially with the businesses that we have in town, the amount that they contribute is significant, that each one could contribute. So
it's the low-hanging fruit that a lot of people don't realize that we could benefit from. But there are hospitals our size that receive $2.5 million a year through that program from their local communities. Now, anybody can donate to Appleton Healthcare across the state. Typically, it is done within your local community. There's a huge benefit from the hospital if we're able to retain that.
So if we approve this from a 10-year payout, would there be a point in time that maybe we could shorten that? Or what's y'all's thinking on that? 10 years just seems like a long time.
We've talked about that. The reason we did the 10-year was because that was what we were comfortable with, knowing that the $500,000 allocation is there for EMS, The other $500,000 was to help offset what we expense under indigent and bad debt. We just felt like that structure gave us a little bit of flexibility with the potential cost increase with EMS. It's an unknown. We probably need to meet at some point to look at that contract as well, because that's been $500,000 since 1997. I'm sure the cost of the operation of EMS has gone up, a little bit since then. So, we were just comfortable with that 10-year. Now, if y'all have, a structure that y'all feel more comfortable with, of course, we'd be willing to give that consideration. For us, that was what we wanted to present back to you all, because that was to our benefit.
If I may, Commissioner, one thing that...
Matt, will you go to the microphone, please?
If you would tell the public who you are.
Of course, and I'm Matt Wilmot. I'm attorney for the hospital. One option, Commissioner Edwards, that could also be considered, I think Lee's stated very eloquently, we want to commit to what we feel comfortable committing to. We want to honor our commitments. So there is a considered approach to why we propose the 10-year term. Now, that being said, that $250 deduction that we're proposing against the $500,000 is for purposes of offsetting hospital losses. So one option that the commission may consider, and I haven't spoken with the authority board on this, is tying an accelerated repayment if certain profitability metrics are met at some point in the future. So perhaps we could do something like the 10-year repayment plan, but if at any time during the course of that 10 years, there's been X number of quarters or years of operating profitability, that would, in general, merit reevaluating the additional financial assistance, and would also be an appropriate time to look at the repayment time period.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioners, I've heard 2 or 3 time frames. I've heard as low as 6. I've heard up to 10, 7, 8. Any thoughts?
Lee, I want to ask a question about the HEART program.
Sure.
Did y'all say y'all was hiring somebody that would be going out, or y'all have somebody that's going to be going out, like trying to promote this to the businesses and stuff?
We've recently hired the role. We had someone in the marketing executive role. They left. We've recently rehired, and that will be one of the primary responsibilities, is to go out, talk to groups within the community, talk with businesses regarding that.
10 years, $250,000 a year on the repayment, 8 years would be $312,500.
That's about favorite.
8 years, what?
312, 500.
325.
Thank you. 312.
I think that's why they went with 10. It's not so Lee did the math. Lee did the math on that one. It was easy for him.
Well, we need to set the terms that can be met, and that leaves us the option, leaves them the option, if says profitability is good, to increase that. If we set our terms too rigorous, then it'll.
We set them up for failure.
Right, it keeps them in a bind, and I think as long as we get something that's workable and it's payable back to taxpayers, I'm happy.
So, Commissioner, are you suggesting the 10-year with the clause that Councilor Wilmot advocated?
Well, that's what they're comfortable at paying. That's what they think they can pay, and I'd rather have that and have payment
So we can see where we are, would you mind posing that as a motion, that it would be the 10-year payment with the clause that?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
What's your motion? I was doing arithmetic, I'm sorry.
I believe the couch, if I could paraphrase Mr. Sellers, your motion would be the 10-year payment under the terms in the IGA, but with the added clause that Mr. Wilmot just stated that he could add into the contract based on the profitability and restructuring the payment plan based on a positive profitability. Is that correct, Mr. Wilmot?
Yeah. That's correct. I think the only open question may be, and you know, I'm usually an advocate of certainty where we can have certainty. I don't know if the commission or the authority board would have whether it be a set 6 consecutive quarters of profitability, or
As the attorney for the board, I would suggest 4.
I'm sure you would, Mr. Brown. But I would, instead of leaving it entirely uncertain, I think it might help everyone for their, for certainty purposes, to have some type of metric, if that is something that the commission's comfortable considering tonight.
So your motion, Mr. Sellers, would be the 10-year repayment with the 4-year profitability, with the 4-quarter profitability and restructuring the payment plan.
That's correct.
Second.
You second that? All in favor of proceeding with this IGA and I'm sorry.
I have a question. Mr. Lovett, do we have adequate funds in our reserves to fund these requirements without additional burden to our citizens?
Yes, sir. We can fund this.
All right. Thank you. No further discussion.
I had a motion and a second. All in favor of 10 years, 2.5 million. And of course, this will have to be written and approved. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Pre-cleanup.
Next item, debris extension. As you know, at the last meeting, the board extended the P&J to a 30-day extension. We all heard in that meeting that they would well meet that deadline. To my knowledge, there's still 150 to 200 cubic yards of debris out there. Myself and Mr. Carroll think that's a little light, but we'll go with that. We have 2 options. One, we are, while we were working out, we have prepared our own method to pick up and dispose of the debris, which will be a little bit more time consuming, but it will be our labor. Our guys, and Mr. Carroll, he can also add to this, or if you need to ask him a question about it. We have a site permitted, and we will do a daily burn in conjunction with the Georgia Forestry giving us permit every day, which we will call to get. This method, I think, will be good. It's our labor, our equipment, at the 75% reimbursement rate, which is what happened after February 3rd. It dropped from 100 to 75. It's our labor, our equipment, our money. If it does, I've heard rumor, not assurances, that it could go retroactively back to 100%. If so, that is still 100% of our money, reimbursing ourselves, putting it back in where it should be. So the other option is we extend the current contract 30 days to allow them to pick up. Now, they gave assurances today. I had a meeting with them at 3 o'clock. Said that they could do it in 30 days. So we have 2 options. One, we're prepared to take it on ourselves. It just will be a little slower and require patience on our community, and we will take it road by road rather than hop and skip around, which is the way we prefer it. And then, or 2, we can extend the current contract. I will leave that up for y'all to decide.
I have a question, Mr. Weaver. The equipment we have and having to maintain the roads that we got, which that's a constant job in itself. How would that adversely affect our maintenance on our current roads?
Right now, Mr. Randy, I think that we would,
Carol, if you would. And the recording.
As I was saying, as of right now, Mr. Randy, I think that we would possibly be able to do this, but all of it hinges on what our county manager said. this is gonna be a slow process, because we cannot stop everything that we're doing. There are certain things that has to be done routinely.
Right.
So we would do it on a small scale, but I think that we can achieve it.
Next question I have, I assume we'll be hauling this with our dump trucks.
Yes, sir.
Now, when you go dropping stumps and that type of debris in there, how much damage would that do?
Well, there is always the possibility of a lot of that happening, but there again, I think at this point, this would be to our best interest. We just have to take the chance at that. I mean, like I say, it's going to be a slower pace, but I think we can achieve it.
You'd have to remove your tailgates to dump, wouldn't you?
That's correct.
So you'd have to have some sort of covering there. Okay. Well, do you think we can?
I just want to reiterate one thing, just for the community and the public's sake, be considerate. It's going to take a while.
Yeah, let's be safe, because I know, and everybody in the district has too. Of course, me and you've talked about some roads we got that's been long in need of maintenance. We keep them paved and stuff, I mean, keep them graded and stuff like that, but yet there's some major pushes on some of them that need to be done. Would that adversely affect that?
No, sir. I think we'll still be able to accomplish that.
And I do want to add one thing. In some of this discussion, and we have been thinking about this since the last meeting in the month, there's always the option that we can and get reimbursed at the 75%. Our local employ some of our local contractors and utilize our local contractors in this process. It does not have to solely be on us. We may run up against an issue or something. We may want to employ some of our contractors, whether it be an operator, truck, and we can do that with our local people.
But what we'd be doing would be FEMA reimbursed at that 75% level, is that right?
It would, and if it goes back to 100, it will be 100.
Carol, how are you going to address the, there's still a lot of trees that need sawing up and things like that, not just loading, but actual chainsaw crews?
When we start, we will have a chainsaw person with the operator that's doing the loading. When we start, we're working on the right-of-way. We're not,
right.
Whatever's on the right-of-way or hanging over our ditch line, that's where we're cutting it, and that's what we're moving.
Would there be the possibility of us getting the forestry guys to help us, assist us with that?
We have been in contact with forestry already.
Okay.
There's a lot of avenues that we can pursue there.
All right, thank you.
I have observed during this, under the current contract we got, that some land being cleared, it wasn't debris on the right-of-way. It's land clearing that's piling it up on the right-of-way rather than burning it. And so.
And it sure got hauled off, didn't it, Brother Randy?
It did. Yeah. And I don't think that was the intent of what we were doing, was for people to clear land.
Most of the big piles are gone, and what's left is what they've cut down on the side of the roads. It's got to be the harder part.
There is still some roads that have a lot. But like you said, a lot of the roads, the bigger stuff was retrieved. There is still scattered stuff up and down.
I've included in that packet the map. They pulled this map based off Debris Tech, and that was as of last Friday, which was the last day they hauled. They still had to chip.
Because according to him, he went across this whole county, but I don't see nothing east of it actually been done.
Yeah, we got slided, didn't we? Check.
Do y'all have the equipment y'all need to do it, did you say?
Yes.
I like the thought of being able to keep money in our county. You know, if we hire our local people and we pay them, we keeping the money local instead of sending it wherever else people's from.
Right.
So it's going to boost our whole county. I think, yeah, the public needs to know, just don't keep putting stuff by the road because we just, start burning it and stuff like they should do. But anyway, if we keep the money here in the county, it's just going to boost our county. So
What you gonna do about addressing the issue far as people that's done put fresh stuff, like y'all said earlier, in the ditch? Are you gonna say, well, that's fresh, we're not getting that, or that is that? Because, like you said, if you skip somebody say yard just because you said, well, that's fresh green, we're not getting it, and then you get my neighbor yard, that's gonna be an issue.
Well, that's something that me and the county manager is gonna have to address, because you know what's gonna happen, I know what's gonna happen. But it's like he said, we're gonna take it road by road. We're not gonna be job hopping. We're gonna start at the beginning of this road, and we're going through that road. Once we complete that road, that's a part of our job is getting that to FEMA. We got to enter all that stuff as we go along. So, with that being said, when we complete a road, if we come back along there, then that's something that he and I are gonna have to address with the public.
Is there action we could take? Like I said, I like out there, clear the road. Once you clear the road, you check it off. Then you come back something down there. That means somebody's put something there that it shouldn't be putting there. Is there any means of making them pay for the cleanup?
We don't have anything set in place because we're not in the debris pickup. I mean, we just don't offer that as a service. So that is a discussion we can have if we find that to be an outstanding problem. The capabilities that we have is similar to what Debris Tech has, is we can actually take a picture of the piles as we pick them up, which we're going to do, and it drops the coordinates. So when he does finish the road, we can go back, and then that can be our job to have that discussion with the property owner that we knew it wasn't there. We videoed the road prior to start. And it's not that we don't want to pick up. It's just the matter of how much work that it's going to be. That's why we're asking people to be considerate and patient.
Right. We want to do a job, we just don't want to be took advantage of.
Correct. The estimated amount right now that we have out there, that we have spent to date, is $16.5 million. To finish the job is over $19 million. That's the estimated total, and I'm getting a new total now to see if that number had changed since last Friday. He's supposed to be calling me with what they spent, because they did pick up today unauthorized and went out and started picking up debris, the contractor. So.
But that 16 million was under the 100% reimbursement.
That was under the 100% reimbursement, which is why I use that. Well, yeah, as of yesterday, that total will be under the 100% reimbursement.
Commissioners?
Well, I like the fact that we control it. If we do it in-house, it's under our control, and we can get a hold of Carol and tell him what we need, and that's just my thought on it.
And I understood if we need it, we can use local contractors to
Yes.
And probably increase our speed too.
Correct.
I like that.
Need a motion?
I do.
Well, I make a motion that the county, by recommendation of the road superintendent, county manager, that we finish the debris pickup.
So not to extend it.
And not to extend the other contract. Exactly.
I have a motion to go local and finish the cleanup. Do I hear a second? I saw Chad first. All in favor? Unanimous. Department updates, county manager.
You got the executive session?
I'll go with the recreation department. Talking with Mr. Timmy, our basketball season's in full swing. I've seen that first in action. I've seen Bird at the restaurant. I think it was last Friday. I was picking up food, and y'all were playing basketball that Saturday. He said starting at 10 a.m. I believe. So basketball is in full swing. Registration is open for all spring sports. And the past weekend, our sports complex hosted 23 baseball teams. Is that right, Mr. Timmy? So that's outstanding. That was bringing a lot of youth baseball into our community. I actually spoke with one of them. They wanted me to deliver food, but thought I was going to do a favor. But that's good, and that's good for our local business. So thank you, Mr. Timmy. Building and grounds, we're still working on receiving quotes to fix our buildings that are still out there. We're still only have completed 4, the PRC, the senior center, and the 2 I named at the last meeting. We're still trying to get quotes and having trouble getting 3 quotes sometimes. So I will let you know that. I mentioned earlier, the tax assessor had mentioned that we do have field units on the ground. They will not be going inside of homes. They're strictly from the property standpoint and doing their assessment. So if you see anybody, 911 has all their information. They should wear a badge and a marked vehicle. Outside of that, please, contact 911, but they do have all their information and they do have county badges. The landfill update, so far in January, I got a call. Mr. Robert wants to see me go out there. I rode out there to dump a load, and we have an influx of, as debris, as I stated at the last meeting, 563 loads just in January of not debris, but construction materials. So we have that. Currently, admin, I've already told y'all we're working on job descriptions, competencies, and hopefully getting some annual evaluations prepared and those packets. So you'll see at each meeting, hopefully we have a department or two that y'all can review the job descriptions and we can get those updated and signed by our current staff that we have. And next, I do want to take a minute. I've already talked about the FEMA update and where we are. We're steady putting in. We did finalize some Hurricane Debbie money. We have some of that obligated. I know of last week it was just $60,000 just for one little project. So that's obligated, and I'm continuing to work on the remaining pieces of Debbie with our roads, our ditching, and where we had all those roads blow out, and also inputting Hurricane Helene information at the same time. So 2 different hurricanes, 2 different problems, same process, thankfully, but just a lot of information gathering. But next, I do want to say, and in our department report, and I guess you can call this my manager report, I want to say thank you to the families of our road department employees and everybody that come out. I worked pretty close with Carol during that last winter storm, and in the winter storm, we talked, I felt like I talked to him more than I talked to anybody, but it's their families. I rode by, I had about an hour, I pulled my kids on the inner tube, and then we went back right to working. But I want to say thank you to them. I think everybody should, because they were away from their families. We had guys that were out, wasn't able to be building snowmen and things like that. And I can't say enough. You've been great, and I'm throwing more at you. But we worked hand in hand. But I want to say thank you to your family and all the guys' families for y'all allowing y'all to be away and do this work. So thank y'all.
Yes.
And that's all I have.
I got a question, Mr. Levitt. On this local contract, the debris removal, do you have a set rate?
We do not. So when we send that out, I will send out for a request for information or a request for proposal, and there will be requirements such as license and insurance that will be involved in that.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
According to the agenda, at this time, we need to go into executive session for personnel, litigation, or real estate. At this time, I need a motion to close regular session and go into executive session.
I'll make it.
I'll make it.
All right, I'll second.
Commissioner Edwards, okay, y'all went backwards. Commissioner Kent on the motion, Commissioner Edwards on the second, all in favor? Unanimous. At this time, I need a motion to close executive session and return to regular session.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Commissioner Edwards.
I'll second.
Thank you. Commissioner Kent, all in favor? Unanimous. We are returned to regular session.
First item on personnel. Last meeting, we extended 30 days, Mr. Mike Deal, for 30-day extension. That has run out, and my recommendation is that we use him as an as-needed basis rather than a time extension. So my recommendation is that we extend as needed.
Motion.
I make a motion that we accept that.
Thank you, sir. Have a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, sir. All in favor? As needed. Mike, go ahead.
Second personnel, we did discuss this, we extended Ms. Yvonne Sellers' last meeting for 30 days. I also would recommend that we, instead of a time frame, we do as needed for her as well, from this point forward.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Commissioner Kent, second.
I'll second.
Darrell, all in favor? Unanimous.
Next item my recommendation will be to give permission or approval to the manager and the attorney to draft and make a change to the handbook to allow for, under emergency work, disaster, inclement weather, required call out, that we correct the pay structure in our current handbook.
Is that going to be retroactive to cover this?
And retroactive to the previous motion.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Edwards with the motion, a second. From Commissioner Barnes, all in favor? Unanimous.
That's the only items I have, sir.
In executive session, the commissioners discussed the previous actions of the prior board, of the previous board regarding the pay to Mr. Al Meadows. The question has been whether that pay was pursuant to a termination or pursuant to a resignation. It's public knowledge that Mr. Meadows came out in October after that executive session and made the comment that he had lost the confidence of the board and tendered his resignation effective immediately. The board voted to accept the resignation. It's been public knowledge that there was a 4-1 vote. Mr. Meadows was allowed to resign, and in doing so, the board did decide that although he was resigning, that they would pay the 2 months pursuant to his contract as if he was terminated by the board, as well as his vacation pay that he had accrued at that time. The majority of the board at that time did do so. Inadvertently, that was never brought to a public vote. That fault lies with the chairman and myself. Pleasure of the board regarding ratification of what was previously done.
I so move that we ratify what the board had done.
That was a motion.
That's a motion.
A second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Commissioner Kent. All in favor? Unanimous. We got it covered. Ms. Deidre, public input?
Thank you, Chairman. I'm going to make it quick tonight. In 2024, I started the live streams. And the reason was when I started coming up here, there was also a lot of people that wasn't able to come to the live streams. It was never any of my intentions, nor did I ever want anything to be said that would belittle any of the commissioners. I didn't want no hard feelings with the commissioners. I think a lot of positive things came out of the live streams. We've seen, I do believe that the public was more informed, and we could look at the elections, just look at the last election, how many people actually came out. It was record-breaking. The Splots used to get, when it was time to vote on that, anywhere from 400 to 500 people would actually vote on the Splots. And this year we've seen record numbers. We've had 1,600 people vote on Splots. That's never happened. I'm asking tonight, after 5 years, and I was thinking about this today, 5 years of doing the live streams. I've been through 5 county managers. I hope you're the last one. I really hope you're the last one. You have all my confidence. It's time for the commissioners, and I have a lot of faith in y'all. I believe that this commission is full of integrity. I believe that y'all will be accountable. And I also think that you'll be very transparent. If you don't say anything wrong in the public, you don't have to backtrack and wonder what you said on the live stream. And for the people that your spouses can't come, well, they're able to watch it too. The only way that a live stream is bad is if you get caught doing something, and the entire county will know before the end of the live stream. I can see where it would be good for a lot of reasons. And some of you have told me that you've watched the live streams also, and I hope that it was informative for you, you know, wherever you might be. And I think as the public, we should be allowed that accountability. We should be allowed that transparency. We voted for y'all. We put our trust in y'all. Which y'all should be also be able to look at us and hold us as, like when Mr. Lee was talking about the community being involved, that what better way than the live stream to get out those things about the sponsoring the heart program with the hospital. And I know when you were doing on the storm updates, and a lot of people was going to Facebook, people want to know. In some instances, we need to know right then. So I can see a lot of good coming from that. So again, for like the third time, I'm asking this board, because I do believe in this board. The one time I left my phone at home was the best meeting last month I have seen in years. And what you said, Mr. Ricky, that was absolutely spot on. And I thought, the one time I don't have my phone, and it was the best meeting we've had. But the public does have confidence in y'all from the ones I've talked to, and we can tell that on elections. But they have, and Mr. Reed, they've got a lot of confidence in you and the chairman and stuff. We need to keep moving forward and keep being positive. And I think this is the year we're going to see a lot of changes in Appling County on a lot of different scopes and reasons. But again, I'm going to ask for your vote tonight for the live stream, that the commissioners do it as a public servant instead of a servant of the public doing it. So that's what I have tonight. Any questions?
I've always been in favor of live streaming. I think the public, anytime I think they have the right to it. And now, I know you mentioned that we could vote on this tonight, which I'm prepared to, but I don't know can we legally do that? Does it have to be brought back and put on the agenda?
I would prefer it be brought back and put on the agenda. It'd be an item.
I had spoken with Ms. Dieter today at length about this, and so there's some information that I'm going to gather to be able to present y'all with all the things that the cost and those things I agreed. And we did talk about this, and so
I don't think it'd be
to gather that information.
difficult if Deidre can sit there with her telephone and live stream through Facebook. Then
My quote was $200.
yeah, so surely it shouldn't be with the technology we got today. It shouldn't be a very hard thing to do.
I've looked at some of the, from my live streams, which is on Facebook right now as we're doing it, to where some of the other live stream, or the recordings on YouTube, where my live stream would have 2,000 views, then the other one would have 25. And you can go back, I mean, it's verifiable on my live stream channel and on the YouTube, so you can tell a big difference. And actually, I think the public is moving more toward the government offices, the city hall. They want the school board live stream. So the county's really moving more in that direction too. So I think this is the beginning step. So
If it's a public meeting, I think the citizens got a right to view it.
That's right.
Ms. Deidre, I think I know the answer, but what is the numbers, I'd say the high numbers that you've had that watched your live streams in the past, 1,500?
Oh, no. When we did an election board meeting, and that one was 10,000 views for the election board. It was held in this room. That one was very interesting. Some of the commissioners, I think the highest one we had was about 3,000. I could go back and look at numbers, I just haven't today. But the highest one was our election board.
Any questions, Commissioner?
Okay, thank you.
Move it to item on the next agenda.
And we collect the information and to know what we're working on, we're on the next agenda. The equipment and
It needs to be an action item.
Good.
But Ms. Deidre, just from my perspective, you've seen them live stream on their website and you've seen them live stream on YouTube. What other media formats have you seen? Are those the only two?
The only two.
So the cost projection would be to put it on our website and do it live versus what it would be for us to do. Do you know if they have a dedicated YouTube channel? I'm looking at some of them right now. They have a dedicated YouTube channel for the commissioners, or?
We do. Y'all do.
I'm talking about the ones that you're seeing on YouTube that are live streaming. I'm not technologically savvy. That's why I'm trying to get information so we know how to start. Is it a dedicated channel that the commission has on the YouTube format?
It's the outline. Read you probably pull the.
When you pull the videos that we post on our website, it carries you to YouTube. The one
Okay.
video.
And those are very low numbers, very low.
There are several communities.
So the question for our technology specialists over there would be the cost projection for doing it live.
And the city of Jessup, I think, does theirs, and a few other ones that I've talked to. I want to do a little bit of research and get all the facts.
It's legal to do so.
Yeah.
It's my only 2 cents.
County manager's report.
I gave a long one earlier with all.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Ms. Dixon.
Yes, Ms. Deidre, thank you very much. Also, thank you for what you did. We appreciate the food during the storm. That was great. It was good. I would have ate it twice. The only thing I'm going to add to our previous report on departments is I've included in a 60-something page handout of the information of the roads. The financial report is in there. I will say that you'll see the general fund revenue to year to date is 9.6 million. The general fund expenses right year to date is 9.5. So that's in there too. Also attached is the hospital's management report for their monthly meeting. I will include those as I receive them monthly. And I think that's all I have. I'll be attending the Young Farmers Banquet Friday, and I'll let you know how good Lou and Bill feel.
Thanks, Chairman. Chairman's comments, I just want to say that the admin staff has been really busy with all of the FEMA work that's been going on and keeping up with all of it. They have truly been up, and it has been loud out there with traffic and everything else. And we appreciate that work.
Leslie, also remind people tomorrow the FEMA office in Appleton County will be closed.
That's right.
FEMA will be closing in Appleton County tomorrow.
The one on Oak Street. That's it.
At 6 o'clock tomorrow.
FEMA will be closing officially in Appleton County at 6 o'clock tomorrow. Thank you for that reminder.